Welcome back to the channel. I'm Peter Mukri, a Dallas-based gaffer with a 1-ton grip van. In today's video, I'm breaking down this lighting setup. I have a big 8x8 book light over here as my key. I have a 6x Ultra Bounce as my fill, and I'm bringing in a light overhead that's boomed in for my hair light. I'm going to control all the lights with a new Sidus Link Pro. Let's get into it. We're going to dive right into the lighting, and then after we're done with that, we're going to take a look at the results. So here's our 8x8 book light. I decided to use two lights for this book light setup, the Aputure 1200D and the Aputure 1000C. The reason is I needed the output and also the ability to tune the color slightly. So by mixing the two, the Aputure 1000C was giving me the ability to kind of tune in the color versus just the daylight output from the 1200D. Aputure did send me the 1000C in exchange for a video. I went into detail about the Blair CG color engine and how I utilize it on my sets. The link for that video is down in the description. Here are the ballasts with the cables hooked onto the clamp. I like to keep it tidy like that. And here's some of the hardware. I T-bar the diffusion and the Ultra Bounce on this booklight setup. You can see there's a gobo, an ear, and then we're running the square tube. I always like to put tennis balls on the end and use clamps to be a little more efficient. The backside of the Ultra Bounce is actually black, so you can see that material hanging there on the right hand side there, and it is set up the same way as the diffusion. You have a gobo, the square tube hardware, and then the square tube running from it, and that's how I like to set it up. And then I added a floppy to the mix. So what I did is to reduce some of the spill, I added a floppy to kind of bring some of the light back into the space. And I like to run the floppies like this and use a gobo arm so I could get them lower and have some fine-tune adjustments. And you can see the weight of the floppy is on the right side of the knob. So when you're facing the knob, the gobo, you want to always put your weight on the right-hand side for safety. And that's our 8x8 book light setup, which is our key light in this space. Now we're going to move on to our hair light. We have a light boomed over. We're using a Matthews triple riser combo stand, and then we're using an Avenger boom to boom our light over, which is a Nova 300C. Let's start from the bottom. We put some shot bags down, and then we have a ratchet strap hooked in for safety. It goes up to the top and hooks into the back of the boom, and that helps to prevent it from falling down as an added safety measure. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll see how I like to balance my booms over a subject. We did use a Mayfair clamp, that's that silver clamp there on the end, and what that helps us do is prevent those shot bags from hanging down. We use regular plastic clamps to clamp around and help guide the wires through. So if we have to change them quickly, they're not wrapped up in the boom, or if we need to extend or shorten the boom, they're not going anywhere. And you could see those running along the whole length of that boom. One of my favorite pieces of grippage or hardware when it comes to booming things out is the baby drop pin. And that's that thing that's angled right there. It helps drop the light down so you're mounting downward rather than from an angle. Because if we took this light and plugged it straight into the boom, we couldn't get the angles we need or get it to hang correctly, and it would start rotating on itself, especially if we did a dome. So that's a really nice piece of equipment. We do have a safety chain attached as well, giving us that extra bit of safety if something were to come loose. And when this all comes together, it gives us the ability to boom out a light safely over a subject. We are running the softbox on the Aputure Nova 300C with a grid, giving us a lot of control and still a lot of great output with this light. I opted for a 6x6 ultra bounce for the fill side. I was able to walk it in and out depending on the subject's skin tone. So if we needed it brighter or darker, we just walked it in and out. It was hung up the same way in a T-bar setup right onto a C stand. I also had to add 2 floppies to the mix to cut some light down. These were quick to deploy and I was able to maneuver them as much as I needed. The main reason they're there is to block the window light that's going to be directly in front of the subject, especially while they're looking at the interviewer. And those floppies really came in helpful once the sun started coming through the windows right there. So it was a big deal to be able to cut that light out and have more control throughout the day. With the chair being so high, I went ahead and elevated the book light that left a gap on the bottom that was then filled in with a furniture blanket, packing blanket down below. It was brought out to the chair, which helped reduce a little bit of the light that was bouncing off the carpet and causing a little bit of color cast on the subject. So it worked to skirt it and to reduce some of that bounce. And that's the lighting breakdown. Let's go ahead and jump into the hot seat and show you how it looks on camera. Let's take a look at some of the lighting. So this is our wide shot, which is kind of a medium. I'm going to look at our interviewer, which is straight ahead here. This is what everyone would be looking like. And we're going to introduce the lights individually. So let's go ahead and turn them all off. And here's all the lights off. This is what it looks like with all the lights off. Your subject is talking, chatting away. Now we're going to turn on the hair light and see what the hair light does in the mix. So here's the hair light. Our hair light is at 40%. And we have the ability to move it in and out and make adjustments as needed. So we could bring it in closer, we could move it away, we could tilt it and adjust it. Now I will turn on one of our lights, which is the 1000C. And this is the 1000C just turned on with the hair light. And this is the look that we're getting. And then the 1200D. Now you may ask, why do you need the 1000C and the 1200D? Well, the background does get a lot brighter and you do risk clipping the background, washing it out. That is one of the risks. You do more than likely need to do some post-processing when you're dealing with windows like this. Otherwise, to match that Texas sun that we have back there, we would have to make it so bright for the subjects, they'd be squinting the whole time during these interviews. So yes, more output could work, but then you run the risk of it being too powerful. What are some other options? Well, you always have the option of adding some ND on the windows behind you to help reduce that light coming in. And that's a great option if you have the budget and you have the time and you have the permission from the venue to do something like that. Not all venues or locations will allow for that. So that's something to consider. And another option is, hey, maybe get a big net to put behind the subject. So then you could have a double or a single net to help reduce some of that light coming in, but that does give a different look, let's say. We didn't have that option for this shoot either, so this is what we opted for. Now I'm going to remove the hair light and show you what that looks like. Oh, I totally deleted it. Uh-oh. Well, let's go ahead and try to add it back because I accidentally deleted it. So let's go ahead and see if we could. Oh, there it is. It popped right back. Yes, that was actually really easy. So that was not staged. I accidentally deleted it out and now it's back in. So we should have it in play. Yep. Do you like a big 8x8 or do you go smaller with a 6x book light? When it comes to your fill side, do you like to do a negative or a bounce? Do you like to boom a hair light in? Do you like a soft hair light or a hard hair light? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to get the conversation going. We're going to fire up the hair light first, which is our Nova 300. We have a softbox on it and a grid. So that's where we are landing at for some of our interviews, about 50%. I can increase or decrease this accordingly to get it where we want it. but I was landing right about 50% most of the time, depending on the person, and we'd make micro adjustments. Let's go ahead and turn on our 1000C, and that's our 1000C on right now. And then we're going to kick on our 1200D. And that's what it looks like with the 1200D fired up as well. So this is with all the lights on now. We have the big 8x8 book light powered by these lights over here, which is a 1000C and a 1200D. Let's go ahead and take off that hairlight and see what it looks like as well. Some people say, well, since they're already being edged with a background, there's no need to have a hair light because it's so bright back there. But some people still like a little more separation or a little more of an edge to kind of wrap around the subject. And it's all subjective to how you like it and how you want it done. Right now, I have the bounce pretty far away to have a more contrasty look. I'm going to go ahead and take it and bring it in and show you what that looks like. All right, I walked that in, so now we have that ultra bounce. It's a 6x ultra bounce that's just hanging T-barred, and now you can see how it does on the fill side compared to it being pulled back a little bit more. Now what we could also do is a lot of the ultra bounces have black on the back, so we're going to turn it around and show what it looks like with the black showing. What it looks like with the darker side of the ultra bounce. They call it a B&W, black and white bounce, because it's black on one side, white on the other. So this is creating kind of a negative fill now, making it a lot darker. And at that point, you really want to take advantage of that edge that you're getting from the hair light. So we'll turn that off and you can see what it does. And then we'll turn that back on. So it's all just a little manipulation, and you're working with getting stuff in as close as you can get it, far away, edging here, slight angles, everything can change and perspective can change, because even if I move forward, things will change, whether it's the hair light or this or that. And what you want to do is, instead of having just a tiny spot where they have to stay completely still, you want to make sure that wherever they move around in the frame, they're taking advantage of the lighting. And that's why bigger sources are easier for these types of things. So you have a little more flexibility with the person, and you don't have stuff changing too drastically. As if you had something really, really, really close, then the things would change quite a bit and get super bright. Like my hand moving forward, it is getting more exposure, more light. But if that book light was right on top of us, it would be really bad and noticeable. And we're talking huge changes in your exposure. So that's kind of how I like to make things land. And then it all comes down to your client, what they want. What look do they want? What look do they need? Do they want it more moody, or do they want it to be a little more high bright and almost flat? And if that's what they want, you give the client what they want, make sure that they're happy, because a happy client means a return client, and a return client means more money for you, more work for you, and more stability. And that's something that you want to maintain as long as possible. Keep those relationships going. Make sure everyone's happy. You're there working for them, even though you may have your own vision and you may give a little input. Your vision is not always their vision, and they are paying you to do what they want you to do. So join the team, help them out, support them as much as possible. And in the end, you will have better results in your business and better relationships overall. Let me know on output on the key.
Is it all the way up right now?
No, we have plenty.
Okay, I think it looks good. I wouldn't come up anymore.
And then that hair light,
What percent?
we're at 40%.
Let's bring that up to 50.
50, okay. The fill, how's that looking? I could walk it in a little. On this shoot, I've been testing out the Sidus Link Pro app for iPad. I like it a lot. So I'm not really on bigger sets where I need DMX or CRMX. I usually am doing a couple of lights to a dozen lights on set, and I need to be able to connect to them quickly and control them if needed, because I am running around all over the place. So the app is really cool in its function. It has a lot of great features. The IO is just a lot smoother and a lot snappier when you move between things. One of the big things when you leave the app to go to a different app, because everything's controlled with apps, when you go back to it, everything is still connected. I like that you could group things together real easily, and it's real visual. So let's say talent sits down and I want to bring up all the lights slowly at the same time. I can pull them all up slowly as needed to get where we need to be and then make my fine-tune adjustments. Another thing is the 0.1% increment adjustment. So I turn off our light, bring it down, and oh, I want to adjust it just slightly. And this is usually when you're on the low end. And I'm going to get down to 1%. Oh, well, you know what? I can get up to 1% by just clicking here. We're at 1% now, and I can actually see the light going on and off. I don't know if you guys can, but it's popping on and off, and I'm going to go down even lower to 0.4, and the light is flickering on and off. So that's a huge change to be able to go in those small adjustments and do 0.1% increments, because sometimes that's just enough and what you need to do it without having to go to the van and get a net or adjust the diffusion or adjust the light. You could have a little more control here. Now, if you have an RGB light like the 1000, which is right here, you can actually change a lot of the settings. So you could go and warm it up, you could cool it off, or you could go into some of the color functions and take care of doing all that. It's real simple and it's very snappy. I really enjoy how quick everything responds. I want to give a big shout out to every single one of you that subscribes to the channel. It really means a lot and helps the channel grow and helps me continue making great content like this for you guys to enjoy. If you got anything out of this video and you enjoyed it, give it a like. Quick reminder, YouTube recommends you watch this video. I recommend you just subscribe to the channel. A lot easier. But if you want to do both, go ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.